A Jmix exclusive.
Hello all, I'd like to welcome all my YouTube subs and viewers to the long-awaited third part of my exclusive interview with Grammy-nominated engineer Jared Scott. Jared Scott has worked with the likes of Puff Daddy, Bono, and more notably, the late great Johnny J. So without any further ado, I'm going to jump right on in to the third part of my exclusive interview with Jared Scott. Jared, how much material did Johnny J leave behind?
I'm just trying to think of projects wise. We did an EP for a group called Hux Fam, which again I believe didn't come out, and that was dope. Those cats are like, I'm not going to shout out where they're from. I don't know where they're from, and I'm Australian, so I've got no idea. But they were dope. They were Johnny fans, and they needed some heat, and they kind of came in with much love to Hux Fam. They came in with a little bit of swagger, and Johnny was like, all right, this is how we do it. Boom. And they kind of butted heads a little, and obviously Johnny would make a suggestion, and they'd be like, yeah, no, I don't think so. I don't think that's going to work. Anyway, of course, we'd do it and it'd be amazing. And Johnny would just, quietly be like, I mean, he used to always say, it's like, hey, I'm Johnny J. It's like, yes, you are. Very much so. So yeah, we did the Hux Fam thing. We did the first thing we did when we got together was an artist. He had a female artist called Kenya, sort of very Jennifer Hudson-y. She reminded me of Jennifer Hudson a lot. We did a bunch of records with her. That didn't come out. TJ, he had another artist called TJ, a young kid. We did a bunch of records with him. Didn't come out. We did some Outlaw stuff. We did some Hisashi Rider stuff. Yeah, there's basically, honestly, everything I did with Johnny hasn't seen the light of day, which is ridiculous. But, there was a bunch of records. There was some Park stuff, that'll probably never see the light of day. There's a lot of good, man, there was a lot of good stuff. He's got a lot of like heat that, obviously I'm a fan too. Beforehand, there's like fans would shit themselves collectively if that ever got out. But he, that's not being controlled actively anymore.
You were talking about working with the Outlaws. There's a question that a lot of people want to know.
The answer is yes.
Okay, the answer is yes.
Yeah, I know that question, and it's absolute fire too. It's man, that was so close. Wait, let me let you ask the question first, just so we're on the same page. The question I answered that you didn't ask is there a Napoleon solo record, which there is, that Johnny did the whole thing of, and the thing is stupid good. Like it's really, really good. But he completed it right as he was converting, and it was a decision that he requested and Johnny respected for it not to come out, because it was against, like, he was basically, essentially what I heard, how I heard it was he was leaving that life behind and that negativity, and that album was full. It had the feel of like Napoleon on Drummercidal, like real, like, you know what I mean? Like real angry, sort of, like he was just spitting fire. So he requested that they shelved that, and Johnny, could obviously respected it. But that album, it's actually a double CD. There's a lot of tracks on it, and there's a lot of Outlaws on it too. It's kind of, well, it's not really. I was going to say it's kind of like a group record, but there's a lot of Outlaws all over it. It's honestly, it's dope, dude. It's really cool. Unfortunately, that's kind of the story with Clockwork as a whole. There's so much material there, because Johnny was a workaholic, that's probably never gonna come out. There's a whole another Busy record that they did, the whole record ready to go. There's a double Napoleon. There's All Eyes on Us, which I'm sure everyone knows about. There's the Hux Fam stuff. There's the TLE stuff. There's 35, 40, park joints that no one's ever heard. There's a lot of stuff that, probably we won't see.
What is All Eyes on Us? What was that for?
It was basically, obviously I don't want to speak on Johnny's behalf. This is how I understood it, just from him telling it. It was essentially, Johnny was really, really upset with the direction that the estate was taking. You know, with all due respect to the estate, that this is just fact at this point. He was upset that you know, and it's a topic that's been hashed over, that they're not staying true to the team and the crew that Park was using. You know, they're using all these new cats. You know, you've spoken about it. You and I have spoken about it. The later records, you know, aren't really Tupac records for me anyway. So basically, you know, as everyone knows, they did 300 some odd tracks. So Better Days, Until the End of Time, Loyal to the Game, they were pretty much all Johnny tracks, you know, and they were, again, not trying to speak for anyone, but this is fact, they didn't want to pay him. That they were really, they had a really tense relationship. Like, you know, they didn't want to pay because, you know, obviously it was, you know, Johnny got his publishing. You know, it was a lot of money. So it was essentially they fucked him. But he was more upset. Like, you know, Johnny, we know how many records Johnny sold, and I'll never forget, he once told me he was the only person that got his publishing from the start from Suge, from Death Row. Like, he got all his publishing. You know, you hear about people getting screwed out. Johnny got all his publishing. So it wasn't a money issue with him. He was, and I say this with all the sincerity I can muster, Johnny loved Tupac. Johnny loved that man, and that was his, you know, that was his man, you know, and he felt a real genuine loss of his partner, and, you know, added with the work that they did, you know, his man's work, that, you know, he's got this great big hole in his mid, is then being disrespected, and he's being cut out and ignored and basically discarded. That he was upset with that, and as well he should be, you know. Far be it from me to judge, but the estate has, you know, some questions to answer as far as direction and motivation, I think. You know, I think we all think that.
Was All Eyes on Us an answer to that? Was that?
Yeah, the long-winded answer of that was, basically, that was, you know, it's always been rumored online, but this is actual fact. Take this to the bank. That, you know, they were going to do, initially they were going to do, you know, the new producers, the hot producers, or whatever, you know, whoever they got, and then release a disc of originals, how they were, you know, how he wanted them, how he knew, you know, how Park, last time Park heard it, that's what it sounded like. You know what I mean? That was initially the plan, and then that got scrapped, and then All Eyes on Us was basically Johnny's versions of stuff that that got remixed, that sounded shit, that just sounded whack. You know what I mean? Again, far be it for me to judge, politically correct, but Everything They Owe is not in time. The start of that song, I don't, as an engineer, I don't know how that passed anyone. You know what I'm talking about? That Everything They Owe that came out on, I think it was Into the End of Time. That's not in time. That's a ridiculously lax job. Whoever did that, it should be ashamed and embarrassed of themselves. I don't know how that passed. Stuff like that, you know, Everything They Owe that, you know, that Park recorded. He didn't record. It sounds like it's him. He didn't record it out of time. He's Tupac, you know. So thankfully, I've heard the you know, we heard the real one, and, you know, like stuff like that. Why wouldn't you put that version out? You know, if nothing but spite, you would put a remixed version out with the principal artist out of time. Come on, man, that's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So yeah, that was, All Eyes on Us basically was a response to that bullshit, you know.
Once again, this is Jmix here. I'd like to thank all my YouTube subs and viewers for checking out my third installment with Mr. Jared Scott. I'll see everybody on the next upload. One love, everybody.
This is a Jmix exclusive.
What up, shut up?